Good evening and welcome to Athens City Council. I'm President Micah McCary and today is April 6th, 2026, and Council is in regular session. Before we officially begin, I'd like to offer a brief civic welcome. The purpose of this meeting is for government officials and for members of the public to come together in the service of our people, planet, and prosperity of our community, reflecting our shared vision of Athens as a welcoming, forward-thinking city that honors our college town roots while growing sustainably. We acknowledge that the rich history has brought us to this moment, shaped by indigenous peoples connected to this land, including the Shawnee and the Osage, as well as cultures commonly known as the Adena, Hopewell, and Fort Ancient, and by generations of leaders and residents of the United States, the state of Ohio, and the city of Athens, whose civic participation has helped shape this community. We recognize our shared responsibility to engage with one another with respect as we prepare to begin to do the public's work together. I'll now officially call the evening's regular session of Athens City Council to order. And the first item of business is to establish quorum. We have 5 of 7 council members here, so we do have quorum. The next agenda item is to approve the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All in favor of approving the agenda as listed, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The agenda has been approved. The next item of business is the disposition of minutes from Council's regular session held on March 16th, 2026. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
May I have a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of approving the minutes from March 16th, 2026, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The minutes have been approved. Next, we have communications. I would like to begin by letting the community know that the International Street Fair that has been a tradition in Athens for many years will happen this Saturday at 11 a.m. and you'll find that next to College Green uptown on Union Street. And I would like to turn to any council members who have communications. Member Swink.
Yes, sir. On Friday, the members of council, I believe the administration, and perhaps some of the other elected officials received an email from the executive director of ORCA. It was a rather comprehensive update as to where ORCA is today and where they hope to move to the future. There were 2 items in that email, and again, it was a very, very comprehensive email, well planned and well thought out, that grabbed my attention. First of all, the best part is the Bailey's Trail is complete. 88 miles are complete. And now that we're moving into spring, hopefully those who enjoy that activity and others can get out that trail and enjoy it. We'll remind the public that about $300,000 from the city of Athens was put forward to help in financing this project over the years. The second thing I noticed too was a very generous offer from the executive director of ORCA to attend a future council meeting, if invited, to share future plans and to answer any questions that the members of council may have. As just one member of the voting member of council, this will be presumptuous of me to invite her, but I would defer to this to our president if he deems it necessary, or not necessary, appropriate to have such a visit. Now that the Bailey's is built, we really look forward to, as a city, the economic impact, both in our food and beverage revenue, but also what we call heads on pillows in our city lodging establishments. So it's a very good email we received, and just wanted to share that with the public that Bailey's is complete and should be open soon, if not already.
Thank you, Member Swank. Do we have communications from other council members? Member Thomas.
Just trying to look up more details. I just wanted to let people know or remind anyone that might have seen it that tomorrow night at the middle school, 5:30 to 7:30, the Athens City School District and some other folks from around the area are discussing property taxes, impact on school funding, and that general discussion. Once again, they did this a month ago also.
Thank you, Member Thomas. Do we have other communications from council members this evening? Yes, Member Isherwood.
I too, just as many of you who live on the Far East Side know that the tie-in to the construction of the new Children's Services Complex is underway, and that includes a water tie-in. That the water tie-in to the Jacobs Drive and Utah Place and Strathmore Boulevard will happen on Tuesday, April 7th and Thursday, April 9th. So those of you who are not availing of the notifications that about water issues, and there you may get there's likely to be a boil advisory during that period of time, just to, for safety's sake, just to be aware of that. You may experience low water pressure during that, but after that, my understanding is water will never be a problem. Well, unlikely to be a problem again. That the tie into to the city service is going to be excellent there. The other thing I wanted to add, I've been fortunate over the last couple of weeks. I mean, as we were talking several weeks ago about drones and issues like that. I had a very fruitful conversation with Natalie Johnson from the ACLU. I just want to keep the public aware that we are furthering those conversations and gathering more information in the hopes that we can, as a City and Safety Services Committee, learn more to be able to talk with the administration about how best to put something in place that will ensure that Athenians feel protected and safe and from that kind of technology should we ever move in that direction again. So I just wanted to thank Natalie Johnson from the ACLU for a very informative conversation and that let people know that's an ongoing process. We're not rushing it, we're taking our time with that conversation.
Thank you, Member Isherwood. Do we have any other communications from members of council? Other elected officials, Law Director Eliason?
No.
Treasurer Thomas? Auditor Hecht? Mayor Patterson?
I have a few items for council this evening. First off, I think a lot of council is aware that there is the Uptown Improvements Project, which is underway. In conversations with the city's service safety director, and he put this together, so I'm going to read this to council because I think this is important. This is important for the public if anybody is interested in attending a meeting that will be on May 5th from 3 to 5:30 p.m. on the second floor conference room in the Armory. So there's a good chance to come in and see the Armory if you've not seen it before, but also a good chance to engage. The City of Athens is under construction on the Athens Utility Relocation Project 382 or 383. The project is part of an ongoing effort to improve the reliability, safety, and appearance of utility infrastructure in the Uptown area. If you've not looked up at the sky when you're in the Uptown area, look up, and you're going to see a lot of utility lines overhead. So this is a project that is going to relocate them underground, which requires a significant amount of boring and work that is ongoing, as you know right now. The project will relocate electric and telecom utilities underground and complete related infrastructure improvements. Temporary sidewalks and streetscape disruptions may occur while work is underway. However, access to businesses, residences, and driveways will be maintained throughout the project. As I mentioned, on May 5th, 3 o'clock to 5:30, the city will hold an open house on the second floor conference room about the project at the Athens Armories, where the meeting is, at 1 Armory Street, Athens. City staff and representation from both the design firm, which is American Structure Point, as well as the contractor, who is Miller Cable, are going to be present to discuss construction phasing, maintenance of traffic, and business and resident access during the construction process. They will also be able to describe the steps for properties to transition their electric service from overhead to underground if needed. There won't be any presentation time per se at this event. Again, it will be an open house from 3 to 5 p.m. We're encouraging residents, businesses, as well as operators within the immediate area and beyond, if you care to come and find out more about this project, to where you can engage anytime during that 2.5 period and have open discussion with the general contractor as well as with our engineering and public works individuals will be there as well. So again, I just wanted to make sure that got out there. Councilmember Swank mentioned the completion of the Bailey's Trail System, and it's no mystery. I think the press has started to have reporting on the fact that I, as a founding board member and the chair of ORCA for the past 4+5 years. The ORCA which is a council of governments, it's the Outdoor Recreation Council of Appalachia. Auditor Hecht and I, as well as a County Commissioner, Lenny Eliason, basically formed a council of governments, which was a way in which we could support what's called a pay-for-success model for building out the trails using impact investing. Well, as time went on, we really never got there with the impact investing, but we were contributors. When I say we, I'm saying the City of Athens contributed significantly using our transient guest tax to fund, which is, again, the hotel tax that the City of Athens receives a portion, roughly $230,000 a year, give or take, depending on the growth of hotels or the lack thereof. And we have hotels. And so we were able to use a portion of that to fund some of the early building of those trails. As Councilmember Swank indicated, the trails are 100% built out, and as of the last board meeting, which was in March, I made the decision to terminate my membership, my boardship and presidential role with the Outdoor Recreation Council of Appalachia, and have the authority under a code, one of the ordinances that the City of Athens has, which is 0-42-19, dated May 6th of 2019, to where under Section 2, the mayor has the authority, and it reads verbatim, the mayor may decide to withdraw from the COG, Council of Governments, at his discretion. The mayor is under no obligation to sign the COG if any other proposed members, i.e. Athens County, City of Nelsonville, Ohio University, Dover Township, York Township, the City of Buchtel, and the City of Chansey do not become members. It ultimately became 4 members in the long run. It was York Township, the Village of Chansey, the Village of Buchtel. It was 5 county commissioners, so the county was a member, and then Athens was a member. So we're literally a charter member of that. Due to some disagreements with the executive director of Orca, I again chose to resign and had the 90-day clause to have the City of Athens withdraw from the COG. It's time, in my opinion, for the City of Athens to really start concentrating again, as we have all along, but really concentrate on our opportunities for outdoor recreation, most notably the Hocking River that runs all the way through Athens, and looking at river trails, looking at some improvements in Sells Park, some other outdoor recreation assets that could be possible in the near future from what I've been told, such as rock climbing or bouldering, which is another sport that is alive and well in Southeast Ohio. So it's time for us to really start looking inward, as well as looking to partner with the county on some other opportunities looking forward in time for outdoor recreation and continuing to be a strong supporter of the outdoor recreation economy. We live in an extraction community. We live in an extraction part of the state of Ohio, which has lived through 2 major booms and busts. Oil, that was gone. Coal, that was gone. Those who profited from it, when they left cities and villages to kind of figure it out on their own. And you know what? We're Appalachia. We figured it out on our own, and we're continuing to do very well. So I will continue to be a champion for our outdoor recreation economy, as well as our outdoor recreation opportunities in the City of Athens, and am dedicated to that. So I wanted to pose those to everyone because there is some varying information that is flowing out there. But again, partially setting the record straight, as well as acknowledging and giving a thank you to council back in 2019 for giving me the authority to withdraw from Orca when I felt that the time was correct or at my own discretion. So thank you, council, for doing that. It has been great. I know Auditor Hecht and I really looked hard at all these things, and we're very prudent in what we decided to, how we decided to engage with Orca early on. And again, the 88 miles of mountain bike trail are built. Now it's looking at ways in which that trail system continued to be sustainable, which I hope they do.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson, for those updates. We'll now move into ordinances for third reading. Ordinance 09-26, an ordinance authorizing the Service Safety Director to advertise and accept bids where necessary and enter into contracts for the North Hill Water Project number 393, introduced by Councilmember Isherwood.
This is a project that will allow the City Safety Services Director and the City Engineer, Gerald Balderton, to begin assessing the work needed to put the water main issues to finally get those sorted out on the North Hill area of the city, and if no amendments or changes.
Do you would like to make a motion?
Oh, yes, of course. I'd like to make a motion to pass this ordinance.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion from council members? Members of the administration? Members of the public? All right, seeing no discussion, we'll now have a vote. All in favor of adopting ordinance 09-26, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Ordinance 09-26 has passed unanimously. Next, for third reading, ordinance 19-26, an ordinance accepting the petition for annexation of approximately 1.175 acres owned by White Family Athens Property LLC on Theater Lane, introduced by Councilmember Swank.
I would move this evening that council pass 019-26.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion from council members? Member Swank.
We've talked about this in committee, 2 readings. This will allow the business to grow. They also plan on bringing on additional personnel, which will aid the city's income tax base.
Thank you. Any other discussion from council members? Members of the administration? Members of the public? Seeing none, all in favor of approving ordinance 1-26, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Ordinance 19-26 has passed unanimously. Next, for third reading, ordinance 20-26, an ordinance designating the zone for the White Family Athens Property LLC annexation area along Theater Lane, introduced by Councilmember Swank.
Again, I would move the council approve 020-26.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second. Second.
Do we have any discussion from council members? Member Swank.
All this ordinance does is designate what the zone will be, in this case B3, which we have to designate all property in the city according to its use.
Any other discussion from council members? Members of the administration? Members of the public? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of adopting ordinance 21-26, please indicate so by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Ordinance 21-26 is passed unanimously. The next ordinance for third reading is ordinance 22-26, an ordinance authorizing the service. I'm sorry.
There's 21.
Oh, 21. Sorry. Ordinance 21-26, an ordinance rezoning 3.4773 acres on Dairy Lane from an educational EI zone to a high-density residential R3 zone, introduced by Councilmember Swank.
I would move the council pass 021-26.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilmember Swank.
This ordinance simply rezones a property on Dairy Lane, which will allow for housing, which will fall under the purview of the 317 board.
Thank you. Any other discussion from the administration? Mayor Patterson?
This kind of rezoning, to me, is the perfect kind of rezoning, in particular with what is going to occur down there once this goes through this rezoning process. So, again, strongly encourage council to pass this piece of legislation.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson. Do we have any comments from the public on this ordinance? Seeing none, now we'll move to a vote for ordinance 21-26. All in favor of approving 21-26, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. All right, ordinance 21-26 has passed unanimously. Now moving on to third reading, ordinance 22-26, an ordinance authorizing the Service Safety Director to execute a perpetual easement and ingress and egress for the University Estates Water Tower and vacation of a 20-foot ingress-egress easement with Atlas Ventures LLC, introduced by Member Isherwood.
This is simply changing the access point to a water tower for the University Estates property. The nature of the access has changed, and in agreement with the owner of that property, the city wants to change the access and ingress point, and that's all this allows us to do. So I move that we pass ordinance 0-22-26.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion from council members? Members of the administration? Members of the public? Seeing no discussion, all in favor of adopting ordinance 22-26, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Ordinance 22-26 has passed unanimously. For third reading, ordinance 23-26, an ordinance amending ordinance 14-25, authorizing the annual purchase of water softening salt for the water treatment plant. Introduced by Councilmember Isherwood.
Yeah, this is an annual purchase for the water treatment plant, ensuring that we have nice soft water. And I move that we pass the amended O-23-26.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion from council members? Members of the administration? Members of the public? Seeing none, we'll now move on to a vote on this water softening salt ordinance, ordinance 23-26. All in favor of approving this ordinance indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Ordinance 23-26 has been approved unanimously. For third reading, ordinance 27-26, an ordinance authorizing the extension of the city water service and installation of a water tap beyond the corporate limits to 8666 Rock Riffle Road, introduced by Councilmember Isherwood.
From time to time, we will get requests from people outside of the corporate limits to get access to the city water service. This is governed by Ohio Revised Code. This is simply providing that access as is required. And so to the address at 8666 Rock Riffle Road. So I move that we pass O-27-26.
Second.
We've had a motion and a second. Any further discussion from council members? Members of the administration? And members of the public? Seeing no further discussion, all council members in favor of adopting ordinance 27-26, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Ordinance 27-26 has passed unanimously. Ordinance 28-26, an ordinance granting a special right-of-way use permit at 32 West Carpenter Street, Mount Zion Baptist Church, to place an elevator vestibule in the city's right-of-way along North Congress Street, introduced by Councilmember Swank.
I would move the council pass O-28-26.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Oh gosh, that's Member Thomas. Thank you. Any discussion? Member Swank.
This vestibule will allow two things to happen. One, for Mount Zion Baptist Church to put in an elevator, making the building ADA compliant, accessible to all. But more importantly, well, I shouldn't say more importantly, additionally, the vestibule will protect that elevator from the elements so that that elevator will be operable 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, or whenever the building is open. And that is the purpose of and the necessity for the vestibule.
Do we have any further discussion by council members? Members of the administration? Members of the public? Seeing no further discussion, all council members in favor of approving ordinance 28-26, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Ordinance 28-26 passes unanimously. We now move on to ordinances for first reading, as we have no ordinances for second reading this evening. The first ordinance for first reading tonight is ordinance 29-26, an ordinance authorizing the conveyance of a surplus city-owned parcel on Hudson Avenue to Community Building Partners, LLC, in furtherance of the Welcome Home Ohio Grant Program, and authorizing the mayor to execute all related documents and declaring an emergency, introduced by Councilmember Swank.
2 weeks ago at committee, we talked about this at length. The property in question is on the southwest corner of Hudson. Right now, it's an old city garage. It's been used for many, many, many things through the years. By transferring this to the Community Building Partners, LLC, we'll be able to raise that building and then construct 8 homes for first-time home owners, home buyers. As someone who was able to do that in 1983 under a state issue 1 program we have here. I realized the value of getting people into that first home, because once you're in the game, and it's not a game, but once you're in and on your way to building a place to stay and transferable wealth through generations. So that's what this is about. We'll go through the 3 reading process and then move that on. There's a second part to this, and that will be acquisition of the Red Cross property to make this building a possibility. But we're talking about 8 homes, the proceeds from which will go into a fund that recycles, where we'll be able to build more homes and more homes and more homes. And we talked about it earlier, the mayor mentioned it. We are in dire need of housing for people in all situations in the city of Athens. So that's what this is about. We'll have 2 more readings and keep this ball rolling.
Thank you, Member Swank. Ordinance 29-26 has been read for the first time. Next, for first reading, Ordinance 30-26, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a 1-year agreement with Sunday Creek Horizons, a consulting firm, introduced by Councilmember Swank.
Municipalities much larger than Athens, with much deeper pockets and bigger budgets, generally are able to employ people to do this kind of work for them. And when I say this kind of work, the kind of work that Sunday Creek Horizons will do for us. They will apply for grants. They will administer grants. They will monitor grants. They will also do lobbying on behalf of the city for infrastructure products and the like. This will cost us $10,000 a month, but that would barely pay for 1 employee when you consider pay and benefits and retirement here in the city of Athens. We've worked with Sunday Creek now for at least 2 or 3 years, and they were very instrumental in bringing the Armory and many other projects to completion. Again, we'll have 2 more readings on this, but this is a renewal of an agreement that has been placed for at least the last 2 or 3 years with Sunday Creek Horizons.
Thank you, Member Swank. Checking with other council members. Any discussion on this item? Members of the administration? Members of the public? All right. The ordinance 30-26 has been read. I'm sorry. Yes, 30-26 has been read for the first time. Now ordinance 31-25, an ordinance amending ordinance 16-26, authorizing the service safety director to close streets in the uptown area for 2026 special events and change requested dates or cancel the events as necessary, introduced by Councilmember Clodfelder.
31-26.
Oh, you're right. Yes, we will clerically update the ordinance number. This is 31-26. Is that acceptable for us to do? Okay, great.
It's actually correct on the ordinance. It's just on the-
Okay, terrific. All right, so again, this is 31-26, an ordinance amending ordinance 16-26, authorizing the service safety director to close streets in the uptown area for 2026 special events and to change requested dates or cancel the events as necessary, introduced by Councilmember Clodfelder.
I need to, hang on, I have to abstain.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So what I would like to do is very briefly go over the 2 events that are coming up in April, just in case people want to know about them and perhaps attend. So this Saturday, April 11th, will be the International Street Fair. That will be located on East Union Street between Court Street and University Terrace. The event will be held from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the street, that part of East Union Street will be closed by 8 a.m. and will be reopened at 6 p.m. Then on April the 17th, there will be the Survivor Advocacy Outreach Program Safety Event, which will also be located on West Union Street, this time between Court Street and Congress. That event will be held from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. The street will be closed starting at 1 p.m. and will reopen at 8:30 p.m. So those are the 2 in April, and then we have one change and, oh, where did that go? We have one change and one addition. It was there. Okay. So for the Dora opening event on May 16th, the location has changed from what was previously approved when we did a whole bunch of these at one time, a bunch of these proposals at one time. The Dora opening event will now be held on West State Street from between Congress and Court. So that's basically in front of Casa and Tony's. And that will be on May 16th. And then we have one more event that has now been approved by the city that came in after we approved the batch of them earlier. And that is an event for the International King Midget Jamboree Cruise-In on August the 7th on Court Street from Union to Washington. And if anybody doesn't know, the reason that's kind of a big deal is that King Midgets were these interesting little cars. I mean, they were called midget for a reason. They were smaller than the average car. And they were manufactured here in Athens from the 1940s to the 1970s. So they are kind of our car. So it's kind of nice that they're going to hold an event here for that. So, yeah, that is all for first reading.
All right. Do we have any discussion from council members before we let Councilmember Thomas return? Any comment from the administration? From the audience? All right. The ordinance has been read for the first time. Member Thomas may return. Thank you for recusing yourself. And next, we'll move on for first reading to Ordinance 32-26, an ordinance authorizing the Service Safety Director to enter into an agreement with the Sustainable Ohio Public Energy Council, SOPEC, to receive electric vehicle charging stations and authorize their installation on public property. This was introduced by Councilmember Clodfelder.
I'm going to read two whereases, and then I'll get right to it. Whereas on June 13th, 2023, SOPEC applied for a grant from the United States Department of Transportation Charging and Fueling Infrastructure Discretionary Grant Program, which funds projects to strategically deploy publicly accessible electric vehicle charging and alternative fueling infrastructure in urban and rural areas and along designated alternative fuel corridors. And then, whereas SOPEC was awarded the funding for this, then be it ordained by the City of the Council of the City of Athens, Athens City Council hereby authorizes the real property located at the Athens City Parking Garage at 13 East Washington Street, parking spaces along Armory Street at 1 Armory Street, and the parking lot at the Athens Fire Department Headquarters, 120 East Stimson Avenue, as appropriate and acceptable locations for the installation and deployment of EV chargers pursuant to the RIDES grant program and any other agreement as between SOPEC and the City of Athens for the operation and maintenance of said chargers. I think those are the highlights.
Thank you, Member Clodfelder. Of course, anything we can do to support our energy and sustainability goals is great for Athens and for the community. Do we have any comments from members of council? From the administration? From the public? All right, seeing none, Ordinance 32-26 has been read for the first time. Next, for first reading, Ordinance 33-26, an ordinance amending the 2026 Appropriation Ordinance 120-25 to reconcile federal and state pass-through payments. Introduced by Member Thomas.
Thank you. We discussed this in committee. This is pass-through funds that came from ODOT for city projects, projects that are all listed by number in the ordinance. These are funds that do not come into the city accounts. The monies do not transfer into any of our accounts. And these usually close out at the end of the year, but due to timing and delays in billing, agency processing and whatnot, they did not get done by the close of 2025. So we need to go back and amend Ordinance 120-25 to have the correct amounts in Fund 589 and Fund 590. The amounts are in there. It changes from 4.3 to 11.3. But again, these are not monies that came into our city monies. These are ODOT funds that were given to us for projects. That's really about it. This will need to be suspended. Obviously, we cannot do that tonight due to numbers, so I will ask on the second reading to suspend this so that it can just be cleared up for the auditor's office. Any questions?
Thank you for that explanation, Member Thomas. Any further discussion from council members? All right, members from the administration and from the public. Seeing none, Ordinance 33-26 has been read for the first time. Moving on to Ordinance 34-26, an ordinance amending Ordinance 121-25, authorizing 2026 staffing levels, introduced by Finance and Personnel Committee. Member Thomas?
Thank you. This one and the next ordinance go together. This we discussed at committee also, the deletion of the environmental coordinator. and that's going to move to being a contracted service with the Soil and Water District. And this is just removing it from the staffing ordinance.
Any discussion from council members on ordinance 34-26? From the administration? From members of the public? Seeing none, ordinance 34-26 has been read for the first time. Next, for first reading, ordinance 35-26, an ordinance amending the 2026 appropriation ordinance 120-25, introduced by Councilmember Thomas.
Again, we are amending ordinance 120-25 just to change some updated figures. The $8,500 to general fund fire for a thermal imaging equipment grant and increasing the appropriations by that amount. And then in the 2026 appropriation ordinance, we're amending for the position we just discussed deleting. And we're going to decrease the water fund, the sewer fund, and the storm sewer plant, all personnel, by $25,000, and increase the transaction costs, 300 professional services for all three of those by $25,000. So basically the $75,000 that would have gone into personnel for those funds is now going to go into professional services and go to the Athens Soil and Water District.
Thank you, Member Thomas. Any additional comments or discussion from council members?
I would just say that this is, if people are looking for example of the city being prudent, managing public funds, this is a classic, really good example of that.
Thank you, Member Isherwood. Any other discussion from council members? From the administration? Mayor Patterson.
I would like to follow up on what Councilmember Isherwood just mentioned. You know, last week we had the open house put on by the League of Women Voters to discuss the income tax increase that will be on the May ballot. And during that conversation, coming from those of us, the treasurer was there, the auditor was there, Councilmember Thomas was there, and I was there. And again, it was informing the public that with the soft hiring freeze that is currently underway with the city, there are other positions such as the one discussed that we have found a different way in which to have someone perform those duties, but in the long run, saving the city monies that would otherwise have to go out to not only payroll but to benefits. So again, thank you, Councilmember Isherwood. Your point is well taken that we are doing everything that we need to reduce our expenditures, but our expenses are still high.
Thank you for that comment and explanation, Mayor Patterson. Any discussion from the public? Seeing none, ordinance 35-26 has been read for the first time. Next, for first reading, ordinance 36-26, an ordinance authorizing the creation of the Athens Multipurpose Pavilion Fund and declaring an emergency, introduced by Councilmember Thomas.
Yes. So this is creating a fund for donations and grants to build the multipurpose pavilion that will house the farmers market and could house various other events, commerce events throughout the year. Anytime we create a new fund, we have to have state approval. So this will be created, and this is another one that next week, well, I guess not at second reading, I'll ask for a suspension because it will take approximately 30 days for the state to approve this, and we want to be able to accept funds as soon as possible.
Thank you, Member Thomas. Any other comments or discussion? Member Swink.
I'm not sure who to direct this question to, but in reading section 1, it says to accept grants and donations. I understand grants, that's a simple one. But what about donations? Do we have any mechanism in place, or can we put a mechanism in place where someone from this phone goes to a QR code and makes a gift?
Mayor Patterson.
So the community center, 270 has had a line item there to where they can receive donations into arts, parks, and recreation. In terms of an actual QR code or something that someone can donate to, I'd have to talk to the director, Catherine Ann Jordan, to find out more about that. Councilmember Swank. I also know that the farmers market and accompanying entities are certainly working on a fundraiser or campaign drive to fund this. And this isn't answering your question, but I'm going to take a little liberty here. I feel compelled to share with council and those of you who are here and whoever's watching tonight that the $300,000 that the city was awarded through the state appropriation was through a lot of work that Sunday Creek Horizons put into. I made the request of Sunday Creek Horizons that this would be great if we could get funding for a multi-use pavilion, and lo and behold, we were able to get this $300,000, but the pavilion's going to cost a lot more than that. So to your point, I can certainly ask Catherine Ann Jordan to see if there's a QR or anything that someone can donate to. Also get more information as to how you actually need to do that to make that work.
Yeah, I had not thought of that, but you just brought up a point that I think we're, in a sense, already doing that. I don't have children anymore participating in youth sports, but I think we allow youth sports registration to be done online.
Yeah.
So we may already have some sort of program on there, and this would be just a simple add-on. This comes from my 40 months working in institutional advancement, and the easier you can make it for someone to give, the days of getting something in the mail and writing a check and sending it back in, that's just not happening all that much anymore. So, yeah, if you could check into that, that would be great. Appreciate it.
I will.
Thank you, Member Swank. Do we have any other discussion from council or the administration on this ordinance? How about members of the public? All right, seeing none, ordinance 36-26 has been read for the first time. Next for first reading, ordinance 37-26, an ordinance approving a then and now certificate for payment and declaring an emergency, introduced by Councilmember Thomas.
This is just another then and now payment in the amount of $25,200 for citizen service software, which is software that the code department uses. And I will ask to suspend this on second reading also.
Thank you, Member Thomas. Do we have any discussion on 37-26 from council members? From members of the administration? From the public? All right, seeing none, ordinance 37-26 has been read for the first time. Next for first reading, ordinance 38-26, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of a replacement dump truck for the sewer department and disposal of the current dump truck, introduced by Councilmember Isherwood.
We discussed this in our last City and Safety Services Committee. The city needs to replace a dump truck that is used by the sewer department. It's a critical piece of equipment. They have identified a truck that they want to purchase, and this would also allow for the cost of I believe, getting rid of the older truck as well. I think in the ordinance you can see it's a 2007. The vehicle we will no longer use the information is in the ordinance, and this is a critical piece of information for the sewer department. A piece of equipment. Sorry.
All right, thank you, Member Isherwood. Do we have any discussion from council or comments from the administration and members of the public? It's seeing none. Ordinance 38-26 has been read for the first time. And finally, for first reading this evening, ordinance 39-26, an ordinance authorizing a contract with the Washington County Commissioners and declaring an emergency, introduced by Councilmember Isherwood.
This is a contract that we regularly enter into with the Washington County Commissioners. This allows an overflow in an event that we would have to house prisoners if we were unable to house them here in the city of Athens. This would require us to pay, I believe it's $100 a day for those prisoners. It is not often used. It is just to have in place in case there was such an event to do it. So this is, once again, good forward planning and thinking by the city. And again, it's one we do fairly regularly.
Yes. Thank you, Member Isherwood. Do we have any comments from council members? Or the mayor, administration? Okay. And from the public? Seeing none, ordinance 39-25 has been read for the first time, and we now move on to a one-reading resolution, Resolution 05-26. Is that right? Okay. A resolution reappointing 2 members of the Board of Trustees of the Ridges New Community Authority, introduced by Councilmember Swank.
Okay, we talked about this in committee. These 2 gentlemen are currently on the Community Authority Board, and they've been recommended for reappointment, Randy Gonzalez and Jim Kaufman. Randy Gonzalez, resident here in town. Jim Kaufman is an Ohio University Vice President of Real Estate. And I would move that we, can we do these together?
Second.
Or do we need to do them separately? Okay, I'd like to move to reappoint Randy Gonzalez and Jim Kaufman to the Board of Trustees of the Ridges New Community Authority.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, the resolution has been passed unanimously, and that's Resolution 05-26. Next, we'll move on to announcements and other business. May I have a motion to approve an appointment to the Rental Inspection Process Subcommittee of the Affordable Housing Commission?
So moved.
Second.
Member Swank, can you specify who that is?
Yes, Rick Wasserman has applied for this position. He was recommended by the Rental Inspection Process Subcommittee and also by the Affordable Housing Commission, under which that subcommittee serves. So it'll be Mr. Rick Wasserman, Athens County resident and local business owner and landlord.
All right. Do we have any discussion? Comments from the mayor? Or the audience? All right. All in favor of approving this appointment to the Rental Inspection Process Subcommittee of the Affordable Housing Commission, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right. The appointment is unanimously approved. Next, for announcements and other business, we have a motion to confirm the mayor's appointment to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Member Swank?
Yes, the mayor has recommended and appointed Molly Fitzgerald from our County Economic Development Council, the executive director, to fill this position, which will now fill all 5 positions on the Board of Zoning Appeals so that they can continue to conduct business as it comes before them. I would move that council confirm the mayor's appointment of Molly Fitzgerald to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Second.
We've had a motion and a second. Any discussion from council? From the administration? Other elected officials? Members of the public? All right. Seeing none. Oh, Mayor Patterson. I'm sorry. All right, there we go. Then the appointment to the Board of Zoning Appeals has been approved. And Mayor Patterson.
I know this is unusual. Council, may I request an amendment for another committee where I just got confirmation from someone who wants to serve on the Historic Preservation Committee? Is that possible?
Yes. So we'll keep this under announcements and other business. And Mayor Patterson, please make your request.
Yes, I received an email from the acting Historic Preservation Board Chair indicating that Randy Gonzalez, since Mr. Gonzalez's name came up once, he apparently wants to be more and more involved in the city, and so he has said he would like to serve in the vacancy that we have with the Historic Preservation Council or Committee.
Can we have a motion?
I would move that we appoint Randy Gonzalez to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Can we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Member Thomas. Do we have any discussion from council members about this appointment? Yes, Member Swank.
I did not know this was coming, but I have worked with Mr. Gonzalez on 2 other projects, and even though he and his wife have been in town less than 3 years, I'm amazed the amount of information that he has learned about this city, both of a current nature and a historical nature. So I think this would be a pretty good appointment.
All right. Any other discussion from council members? Other elected officials? Members of the audience? All right. Thank you, Mayor Patterson. All in favor of accepting this appointment to the Historic Preservation Commission, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, the appointment has been approved unanimously. Also, under announcements and other business, oh, no, we're done with that. Yes, Member Thomas.
I have one more appointment under other business
Okay.
for the Community Relations Commission.
That's right.
I sent out the bio and everything earlier today to everyone. And I would just like to move for the appointment of Amish Hassan Askri to the Community Relations Commission.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? From council? From other elected officials? From the public? Okay. We have a motion and a second for this appointment to the Community Relations Commission. All in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, the appointment to the Community Relations Commission has been unanimously approved. We now move on to opportunities for citizens to speak on legislative items and city services not already covered on the agenda. So if there is something that we didn't discuss and you'd like to speak on it, you'll have 3 minutes and you can go ahead and approach the podium at this time. We'll ask that you go ahead and sign in. There should be a sign-in sheet there where you can list your name and the best contact information for you. But we would love for you to just introduce yourself, let us know your name and your address, and if you're speaking on behalf of yourself or an organization.
Thank you so much, Council. Hello, my name is Mary Nally. I live actually in Meigs County, so my address is 38710 Haining Ridge Road, Albany, Ohio 45710. I am here as a representative of SOPEC, the Sustainable Ohio Public Energy Council, and I'm here to introduce myself to all of you as the new Southeast Ohio Regional Liaison. I'm born and raised in Meigs County, and I'm well known here in Athens County as well from different leadership positions. For those of you unfamiliar with SOPEC, it is a statewide council of governments providing simple, valuable, and reliable public energy programs that help communities achieve their local sustainable energy goals. And when I say sustainability, I'm meaning both that we are sourcing renewable energy sources while also keeping it affordable, so it's sustainable in that way too. As the liaison, I'm responsible for member engagement and management, communications, to ensure quality service and community benefit. I do have a few updates from our organization that are relevant and salient. And so I wanted to first share that this is the season when SOPEC secures the energy rates for the coming 12-month cycle. And so SOPEC is actively working to secure competitive utility rates for all of its member communities. As you may be aware, there are a variety of factors impacting utility rates, and we anticipate seeing increased rates from PJM, which is our regional transmission organization that serves 13 states, as well as the District of Columbia. And we also know that AEP Ohio is planning to raise its utility fees. Nonetheless, SOPEC members will still benefit from the competitive and fixed rates from durable renewable sources, as is the mission of the organization. SOPEC's electric aggregation programs have generated over $40 million in total combined savings for participating members across the state since June of 2021. So that's over $40 million in less than 5 years, demonstrating that renewable energy can be both accessible and affordable. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do we have any other members of the public who would wish to speak on items not discussed on this evening's agenda? If so, I invite you to approach the podium. Seeing no other members of the public indicating their desire to speak, we will close the opportunity for public comment and participation. And next we have executive session, I believe. All right. May I have a motion from council to move into executive session for the purpose of discussing matters of litigation?
I'd move that council move into executive session to discuss 3 matters of pending litigation. Those individuals would include all members of council, the mayor, the auditor, and the treasurer.
We have a motion.
And the law director. That's understood.
We have a motion. Can we have that second again?
I'll second it.
Okay, wonderful. Any discussion on moving into executive session?
Mr. President?
Yes.
It's kind of procedurally, in the past when we do this on evenings when we have Professor Sudda's class, we allot generally 5 to 10 minutes for them to speak with members of council, 15 minutes, I'm sorry, the mayor says. Okay, 10 to 15 minutes. There is a ball game at 8:48 this evening.
All right, we'll go ahead
But to allow them, and then that way they don't have to wait around till after we come out of executive session to ask questions for their class.
Yes, thank you, Member Swank. We will go ahead and allow for that. And do we need to first vote to go into executive session?
We have a roll call vote.
We'll have a roll call vote for.
Before people leave, to make it clear that
Will they be opening doors?
the door will open after executive session, and then we'll adjourn after that.
All right. So for those who are thinking they may have something they wish to share or observe after executive session, we will open the door upon the conclusion of executive session before we formally adjourn. Otherwise, you're welcome to leave for the evening, or if you're wishing to speak with council members before we enter executive session formally, we'll do so. But right now, we need a roll call vote. And Member Almeida, please indicate aye if you approve our motions to go into executive session.
Aye.
All right. Member Swank
Yes.
and Member Clodfelder.
Aye.
And Member Thomas
Aye.
and Member Sherwood.
Aye.
All right. Thank you.